Here, that you're all welcome to come up and help yourself to its literature. And I'll be putting boxes like this out at the next several meetings. One of our past members, both myself and Dan Jones, went to the home to pick up this wild collection of literature that goes back to the 20s and 30s. So I decided, rather than try to sell it or whatever, I knew that it was Joe Penny, who was with Ferrante Degri for a great deal of time over in Howard Square, it's his stuff, that we offer it to the members to help themselves before we put it up at the shows for people to help themselves on. So from now on, I'll bring a box of this at every meeting for you to go through. Along with that, at the very bottom of all of this material, we found this camera. It's a early Plaubel Deutsche non-rangefinder with a constant value of $250. And you'll be seeing this hopefully on our online auctions, which I hope we can get going by the fall. But it's in beautiful condition. It was kind of dirty. I did a rough cleanup. I'm not an expert in cleaning. But I'm sending enough to our friend Bud Midgley to repaint and refinish the back. This is something I'd never seen on one of these cameras. It didn't know it was available. I didn't see it in the literature. But it's a roll film adapter for 120 for the camera. And it works on the slide-in plate with a lock. So it's quite a find for a collector. It will be in a PHSNE online auction featured in the fall. So that's the show and tell. Take a good look at it. It's the first one I've seen this clean.
And is that the kind of camera for this roll film program we're having?
Yeah, it could be used. It absolutely could be used. Absolutely, it could be used. This is the, as I said, the other one. If this was the rangefinder model, it would be worth twice as much. That's the rarest of the rare. These are still pretty rare, turning up. And as you look at it, you know, handle it as an antique camera. But take a good look at the condition of the bellows. I mean, again, for the age of the camera, it's in excellent shape. So enjoy it. Thank you.
I usually mall walk, and I was down at the Silver City Galleria Mall, and naturally when I saw a photo store I walked in, because that's what I do. And it was a Ritz, and they had a clearance desk, and there was a tag that said 45mm f2.8 Nikkor. So I said to the clerk, I said, "Where's the lens?" And he said, "We just sold it yesterday." And I went, "Oh." So I was mall walking at the South Shore Plaza in Braintree, and so I wandered into the Ritz at South Shore Plaza, Braintree, and I said, "Do you have those pancake lenses, Nikkor lenses?" And he said, "What are you talking about?" And I says, "Well, your other store down in Taunton had the lens, and unfortunately they sold it the other day and I missed out on it." So he says, "Let me check the warehouse." So he checked the warehouse. He says, "Yep, I got one." I says, "I want it." And I signed right on the dotted line right then and there, and I got it in like 4 days. It's a limited edition lens that's actually discontinued. It came out in 2001 and it was discontinued in 2006. It's a manual focus lens, but it has a chip in it and it has the electrical contacts, so it can be used on most modern cameras. So I took the most modern camera I own, which is a Nikon N2020, which was made in 1986 and was only out for a few years. Actually, I must confess, I had a 2020 and I sold it maybe a year or so ago. So I was surfing the eBay, and I found another one at Hunt's in Melrose, so I bought it. So the camera cost me $20, and the lens cost me just under $200. But I'll tell you, it's a nice unit because it's very compact. It only has a profile of 5/8 of an inch beyond the camera body. And so it's almost a pocket type arrangement. If I put this on a Nikon EM, I could definitely call it a pocket SLR. Thank you very much.
Over the winter, I actually have been using my Kodak Recomar 33 a lot. Why would you fuss with a 1930s camera that has a film size that's just slightly less than 4 by 5. The reason is for making contact prints and using a camera that isn't a whole lot bigger than that camera there. Why do you want to do contact prints anymore? To do all the processes. So these are examples of the new cyanotype chemistry that's available from Photographer's Formulary. And this is an example of what you can do with their salt process kit. So the chemistry sets are available either directly from Photographer's Formulary, or you could also get them from Freestyle Photographic. If you've ever wondered about what the so-called new cyanotype looks like, here's examples, and what the salt prints look like. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I was given something that was on its way to the dumpster last summer, which was a print dryer, but it was one of these old fan things with racks in it for drying resin-coated prints. It's something from the 1970s. Turns out it's ideal for drying the paper, because the way you make these photographs is you take your art paper, you coat it with the blue chemistry, and then you have to have it dry, of course, before you put it in contact with your negative. And I get usable paper within a half an hour. It's great. But anyway, come on, take a look at the prints when we're done. And joining over to Jonathan Mueller, our main speaker, and this guy doesn't really need an introduction. We've all known him very, very well for years. And he's been collecting photographs for many years and is producing marvelous prints of them. And we still recall his color transparencies of the Middle East. So here he is again with something new that's old.
Outside. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. And I hope this picture show is going to be of interest to some of you. I know many of you are camera as you have. And so the title for this thing is basically From Collecting to Collections, and how I got there. And I'll have some examples of a few of my collections. And I'd like to dedicate this to Jack Naylor, who was a good friend of many of ours, extraordinary collector, and who was always willing to share the information